Danger, children at work. During the late 1800s, a great change took place in the United States. People moved from farms into cities in huge numbers. They wanted to work in factories where they could earn steady paychecks. Whole families moved to look for jobs. But there were very few laws to protect those who found work. There weren't even laws that kept children from working very long hours. Factory owners, in fact, preferred to hire children. They were easier to manage. They were less likely to go on strike. They worked for much lower wages than their parents. Often, the smaller hands could better handle certain machines and tools. Their smaller bodies could fit into small spaces in factories and mines. By 1900, 18% of all American workers were under the age of 16. That's more than 2 million children. Children worked in mines, mills, and canneries. Others delivered messages, sold newspapers, and shined shoes. In southern cotton mills, 25% of the workers were under 15. Half of those were below age 12. Some of these children worked 12 hours a day in hot, enclosed places filled with soot, dust, and loud noise. Many worked 6 days a week to earn $1. They had little time for school or play and often became ill. Yes, the United States was beginning to hum with industry, but shamefully its engines were driven in part by tiny hands. Things began to change in the early 1900s. By then, adult workers all over the country were demanding better treatment. States such as Massachusetts and New York had already passed laws limiting workdays to 10 hours, children's workdays to 10 hours. The laws also barred children from certain jobs, but change came slowly. It wasn't until 1904 that the National Child Labor Committee formed, led by reformers including Jane Addams, Florence Kelley, and Lillian Wald. In 1924 and 1937, Congress passed federal laws to regulate child labor, but the states would not ratify them. The states held on to their own laws, which varied a lot from state to state. Finally, in 1938, the Fair Labor Standards Act was passed. This new law set minimum ages of 16 for work during school hours, 14 for certain jobs after school, and 18 for dangerous work. It also limited the number of hours that children could work in a week. It's hard to believe that young children were once lowered into coal mines to work 12-hour days, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. There are still parts of the country where children work hard, on farms, for example, but our current laws help keep children in school and protect them from hard labor. Number 1. Factory owners preferred to hire children. Underline 2 sentences that best show this conclusion. Factory owners, in fact, preferred to hire children. They were easier to manage. They were less likely to go on strike. They worked for much lower wages than their parents. Often, their smaller hands could better handle certain machines and tools. Their smaller bodies could fit into small spaces in factories and mines. Read the sentences. Yes, the United States was beginning to hum with industry, but shamefully, its engines were driven in part by tiny hands. What does the use of the word shamefully show the reader? A. The author does not think child labor was beneficial to the rise of industry. B. The author does not think child labor was right, even though it helps industry succeed. C. The author thinks industry in America could not have happened without the tiny hands of children. D. The author thinks engines could only have been operated by children. 3. Part A. Which sentence best shows the main idea of the text? A. Children used to work in factories. B. Child labor helped drive the success of American industry. C. Children used to work without any protections from the law. D. Child labor is still happening today. Part B. Which sentence from the passage best supports your answer in Part A? A. There weren't even laws that kept children from working very long hours. B. Factory owners, in fact, preferred to hire children. C. Congress passed federal laws to regulate child labor. D. They had little time for school or play and often became ill. Number 4. The author concludes that because children worked, they did not attend school. Which detail from the passage best supports this conclusion? A. Children worked in mines, mills, and canneries. Others delivered messages, sold newspapers, and shined shoes. B. Some of these children worked 12 hours a day in hot and close places filled with soot, dust, and loud noise. C. Many worked 6 days a week to earn $1. D. They had little time for school or play and often became ill. Number 5. In what year was the Fair Labor Standards Act passed? A. 1900, B. 1924, C. 1937, D. 1938.